Should be starting up here in just a second. Oh, looks like we're live. Hi everyone, you're watching recording. Do fast forward about a minute. Gonna get going here in just a second. I think we're good. Glasses. Okay, checking some equipment here before we get started. Are we up and running, honey? Are we looking good? Okay, so hi everyone. I'm Q Fong Gray. This is Q Talk Live, and this is week 125. I'm simulcasting today on YouTube, my personal Facebook, Q Talk Facebook page, and the Q Fong Gray Twitch site. Yeah. I wanted to say Twitter. I'm not on Twitter today. So we've only been on Twitter a couple times, but that's okay. You know, just playing around with that and seeing how that goes. So today I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to start from the end and then we're going to go forward with a few other things. So a few reminders here is virtually overcrafting. We are still registering for virtually overcrafting. So if you haven't signed up for a class, do that soon because we want to get those kits out and make sure that everybody gets it on time. So virtuallyovercrafting.com, there's about 30 instructors, over 110 classes, 120 classes, something like that. So you can definitely do some virtual learning next month because it is coming up here, October 20th, 19th, something like that. So we're about a month out, which is pretty exciting. Can't believe it's been 6 months, almost 6 months since the last virtually overcrafting. And yeah, so there you have it. Hopefully you're getting our emails and our and all of our little prompts. But some big news, and if you have already registered, you'll be getting an email from me here in the next couple of days, is Rio Grande has decided to sponsor the event. So you'll be getting a free shipping coupon for riogrande.com. So I'm excited about that. So that was really nice of them to jump in and give us that support. So what else is coming up? We have a Zoom on Sunday for the elevated ring. I don't know if you saw that, but you can still register for it. It is available at theurbanbeater.com. You can't get the kit at this point. It's a little too late, but we can still ship it out to you if you want the kit for later. Remember, Zooms have a 3-month time frame on the recording, so even if you can't attend the class live, you can definitely get the recording and you can have it for the next 3 months, at least guaranteed for the next 3 months. But let's be honest, I haven't deleted a recording yet since we started this whole thing. So there that is. What else is going on? Morocco was great. I was in Morocco last week. Last minute decision to run out. Yeah, I know. Just to run over to Africa. No big deal, but it was a lot of fun and I learned a lot of things. I was there doing some scouting for a metal immersion excursion. Not really clear when that's going to be. You know, 2023 sounds great, but 2023 is like getting really busy for me. And 2023, 2024, something like that. But you can definitely keep track of that at the Q Talk Facebook page and of course on the qfomgray.com page. That is what is happening there. What else do we need to remind them of? Anything else coming up here? So we got the Zoom, we have virtual overcrafting. Okay, so then I'm going to do something a little bit different. Today is start something new, broken pieces. So I'm doing something I've never done before, but in theory should really work. I'm going to show you how to fix this broken cabochon that was given to me by Amy. And I guess we could have called this, what was I calling that when I was finishing up? Oh, UFOs. Because this is somebody else's piece. But I'm going to fill this up and put some silver in there and make it interesting. So that's what we're doing. But before we do that, I wanted to take a moment to talk a little bit about the future and the changes that are coming up here. So give me just a second. I'm going to change out my camera really, really quickly and do it like this. Okay, so there we are. Okay, so I want to take a minute to thank everyone for all your support through the last 125 weeks. For me, 125 weeks is a huge accomplishment. I never even thought after week 1 that we would even get this far. And the reality is, you know, everyone have been asking me, what was the goal? How long were you going to do this for? And I can't say I ever had a goal except to just jump in, do it. And if you've been following along, and I know many of you have been following since week 1, is I jumped into this 10 days after the first shutdown. I scrambled, got the cameras together, and got everything up and running. And it was just, you know, just do it. And there was no end goal. It was just keep going until you can't go anymore. So at about week 90, I was getting tired and thinking, you know what? I'm going to make a goal of 100 weeks of going live and doing these posts twice a week. And when we reached 100, my problem was I didn't know how to end it, and I kept going. So here we are at 125 weeks, and I have finally made the decision that I am going to stop doing these weekly Q Talk lives because it's becoming a little bit too much, and I feel like I need to focus on other things. And as in-person classes are coming in much more strongly here, and everything is starting to, I can't say go back to normal because we are definitely not back to normal, and this is definitely our new norm, but you know, it just seems to be so much, and I have other goals and aspirations and things that I want to do. So I am going to call it quits for now. No decision as to what, you know, where we're going to go after this, except that I did decide that I will continue to do Zooms, and there will be Zoom alongs posted along the way. So you can check out that schedule at the Q Talk Facebook page as I decide to add Zoom alongs and Zoom classes for the future. There won't be one for October because Virtually Ever Crafting is happening in October, but there will definitely be one in November and December because I'm doing the elevated ring, this one, as a 3-part series. So there will be a pendant and a pair of earrings to go with it. So if you want to join me for those, I will post the schedule later on and go from there. But, you know, I just, again, want to take a moment to thank everyone who has been so kind with their support, not only monetarily, but in spirit. You know, I'm so blessed to have all the cheerleaders in my life, and all of you who have sent me personal notes, who have been following Titus's journey and my personal journey with jewelry making. Who knew that I could do this? And you know, we're at over 200 projects, or at least almost 200 projects since COVID started 128 weeks ago. You know, that's a huge number, and it was really hard for me to wrap my head around. And someone said this morning, I went on a hike with Titus and a friend, and he said, yeah, you know what, you deserve a break. It's been 2.5 years. Wow, that really hit me hard this morning. 2.5 years of doing this. It doesn't seem like it, and it flew by really, really fast. To say 125 weeks, for me, didn't sound like too much, but 2.5 years really hit home. So thank you for the comments out there. Andy's relaying them to me, my ears. So if you hear me taking a little break, I'm listening to your comments. And thank you, Dory. Thank you, Diane, for saying that. I really appreciate it. You know, maybe Andy should stop telling me those comments because I'm going to get a little weepy here. Anyway, so through 128 weeks, I only took 3 weeks out. I took a 3-week break. 1 week for my son's graduation, 1 week for a family emergency, and 1 week to go up to Austria. So what do we have what we're looking forward to? Andy and I are going to take a break in about 2 weeks for our anniversary, which is pretty exciting, right before Virtually Ever Crafting. And then, you know, I get to reorganize the studio and get to projects that I just didn't get to. You know, who knew that I would still have projects to get to after almost 200 projects, right? So another statistic, I just wanted to share some fun stuff here, is 10 cameras. Can you believe it? We've been through almost 10 cameras, and if you're really paying attention, voila, I'm at 6 mice, right? These things. I've now officially, yesterday, killed off another mouse. So I killed off 6 mice since COVID. Don't ask me why or how. Well, actually, one of them Titus killed, so we'll just go with that. And then the other one yesterday, just I broke the dongle on my laptop, so that one's rendered dead now too. Not that the mouse died, but the dongle died, so we'll go with that. So that's that said. So, anyway, so those are some of the really, really fun statistics. And so Marcy just said, how will she know what day it is? I know, I find it really funny. So many of you have commented that the only way you knew which day of the week it was when Q Talk Live was on. And that comment in itself is, I can't even begin. I mean, what that comment means to me. It's just so much. Huh? Andy is again in my ear, and he says thank you to everyone too. Your support out there has been really... Okay, I need to stop. Okay, I'm going to switch cameras. I'm going to stop here. Okay, I can't figure out how to stop this. Hold on. We're going to switch back over to the other camera. Okay. Okay, so there it is. That's what I've got going on. Thank you again. And we're just going to jump into this. And I think it's just sort of funny or ironic that I decided to do a start something new today. And of course, it's even more ironic that I'm doing it with broken pieces. I don't feel broken, but I feel that this is a great success and we're looking forward to a new start. Okay. Sorry, guys. Okay, so what this is Amy has been talking about this piece for a long time. And so I finally saw Amy in person, when was it? Oh, a couple weeks ago at Beat Fest, and she handed it to me. So she had these broken cabochons, and every so often we buy cabochons that have a fission in it, and if we work it incorrectly, we crack them open. But what do you do with it? So, I've had people reach out to me, ask me about that, and I always say, just glue it back together. And if it glues back perfectly, like if you actually look at this and I push it together, you'll see that, more than likely you wouldn't see it because they have natural cracks in it, right? So what if you actually took advantage of the situation and you put some silver dust in there? So I've been saving silver dust forever. I don't understand these people who accumulate so much silver dust. I've been saving the silver dust since 128 weeks plus ago, and this is all I have ended up with. I don't know. Go with it, right? Just go with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first try to glue this back together with some 2-part epoxy. 2-part epoxy is always a little bit tricky because it's all in how much or how evenly you mix it. So that's always fun, because if you don't do this evenly, then it's going to, if you don't do this evenly, it won't dry fast enough. So this is 5-minute epoxy. And the reality is, we do jewelry. Do we need our epoxy to be of a longer cure time? Because the longer the cure time, the more, sorry, I'm saying a lot here, the stronger it is. The longer the cure time, the stronger it is. The test weight on this is probably already 500 pounds. I mean, does it really need to be more than that? Not really. So that's your story. That's my story on 2-part epoxy. So don't get crazy. I prefer the 5-minute because it happens much quicker than the 15-minute, of course, because it's 15 minutes versus the 30 minutes, so on and so forth. But the truth and the reality is, when you're using any kind of glue, you should really give it about 24 hours to cure. And Andy says, and it works great on the vent above your stove, because while I was gone to Morocco, the vent above our stove, our new vent, the button broke. The plastic that was holding it just broke. And so in the meantime, while we wait for a replacement piece, I decided to go ahead and 2-part epoxy it when I got home. Yes, there's always something waiting for me when I get home. And go from there. So yeah, I'm still sitting here mixing this because I'm just really sort of OCD about how I mix my epoxy. It's a thing. It's a thing. Don't judge. Just go with it. And we're gonna just take a little bit here. You know, I can't say enough about how absolutely blessed I feel for the support and the love that everyone has shown through COVID. I also find it sort of ironic that last week the pandemic has officially been declared over. So, okay, so I'm going to push this together, then I'm going to pull it apart just to make sure that it sticks on both sides. Okay, so, and here I am sort of doing the same thing. So I see that I don't have enough epoxy on this end. It didn't come up through the top. I want it to come up through to the top because I'm going to put some silver in there. Okay, do you see that? It's sort of oozing out. And I'm gonna, let's see, okay. There we go. Get another toothpick. And we're gonna separate this just a little bit. Because I want a distinctive silver line in there. Okay, so now that I pulled it apart, it doesn't seem like there's quite enough epoxy. So I'm going to put a little bit more in there. Wow. So I guess the first thing I learned here is be generous with this stuff. I know, when do you ever hear me say that? There we go. So I see the glue, I don't know if you can see it, but I see the glue coming right up to the top, the epoxy, right up to the top there, because I don't want to have to fill the whole thing with silver. I just want it to have enough contact that I can see a distinctive line. I'm going to give it a moment here to cure, but not all the way, okay? Because while it's doing that, I need a scooper for this, and I forgot. I was just going to take a piece of wire, and I was just going to smash the end of it to make myself a little tiny scooper. Do I have some wire? Do I have some heavy wire? Okay. How about some 14 gauge here? Move this over. I'm just going to chase a little bit on the end there just to make a teeny weeny scooper thing. I know, what kind of class would it be without, what Q class would it be without a little bit of metal work, right? Okay, so that's what I'm using. Look at that. I know, let's not talk about what this sort of looks like. And I'm going to scoop it right across the top here. So this is silver dust that I have been collecting from all my sawing. Okay. I'm using a clean toothpick at this point because I don't want to get stuff all over. By the way, I post, if anybody is interested, I did post several videos from Morocco. Had way too much fun doing it. Made some friends over there, which I'm excited about. I did not expect that to happen on this trip. But I get a feeling we'll be friends for a long time. Okay. Okie dokie. Wow. Dope. What do I want to do? Okay. I'm going to gently lift this. Push this off. Whoa. So it doesn't stick to the paper. There we go. Okay. Making sure the sides are even. Thanks, Linda. Okay, and I'm gonna just go ahead and tamp this down just a little bit because I sort of mushed the, I don't know if you can see that. I sort of made like lava here when I pushed it together. So hopefully you guys learned a little something along the way in the last 2.5 years, that you came back for more. Other than watching me do my epic Monday fail of trying to solder something more than 10 times and then dropping my torch. I have to say that's probably the the one episode of the live that I always talk about, is dropping my torch into my pickle after trying to solder, I don't know, at least 10 times. It was like, that live was 1 hour and 40 minutes if I remember correctly. Okay, there we are. A little stuck on the bottom, but I'm gonna let it go and let that dry. Okay, so it's gonna take a minute to dry there. In the meantime, I'm gonna put some stuff away. We'll tap some of that dust off and save it on the side. It's a precious commodity, It's a little tacky on the bottom here. Come on. I'm just trying to be really gentle with it because I don't want to mush it together. Okay, and I want to pull it off to see if I can give it some air to dry, but you can see it sort of shimmers through the middle. Okay, let me see if I can give it some more light here. There we go. A little brighter. You can see that there. Okay. Has it been 5 minutes yet? I know, it's so, I always hate sitting here waiting for things to dry. When we're live, it's like watching paint dry, right? Because it pretty much is. So in the meantime, I'm going to put together my sandpaper on the flex shaft. I don't even know what this is called. What is this called? A split mandrel. So I have a split mandrel, and how a split mandrel works is you just cut some sandpaper and you put it inside, and when your flex shaft spins, it spins it around like so. I have some 1200, which is great for polishing stone, and we'll put it into our flex shaft. So So one of the other things I wanted to share while I was here was, or before we went off, was to share, my thought on success. It was really hard for me to stop doing this because, I couldn't define what success meant. And it took me a little bit to come to understand that, I have been successful, and not understand, but to embrace what that really meant. And until I could do that, was I able to just say, we're good, we can move on, and it's okay. And we did more than what other people might have been able to do, but most importantly, more than what exceeded my own expectations. And that for me is now how I'm defining success, is exceeding my own expectations and my own goals. So the question is, could I have gently wet the bottom had the paper stuck to it? Yes, but no. I would probably let it dry completely, wet it, and then pull it off. But whatever paper was stuck onto the epoxy would probably still be there. It probably would have been the easiest way to pull it off, was just to go ahead and wait for it to dry. I'm not clear that wetting it would have done anything to help it. Okay, we're just about dry. Are we still tacky? Let's put the glasses back on. I know I still haven't had time to go to the ophthalmologist to get my new glasses. Next week. So all this crazy reflection. Okay, it's still a little tiny bit tacky, but we're getting there. It's close. I can feel it be tacky in the back. A little tiny bit more. Oh, you know what? I wonder, does accelerant work on epoxy? Does anybody have an answer to that? Now that I think about it, I probably could. Well, could I have used? Could I have used? Is it CA glue? I don't think so on this one. I think this was a little bit too porous for that, but I suppose I would have gone a little bit faster. But I wanted the bulk in it. That's why I went to epoxy. Okay, someone says no, I can't use accelerant on here. All right, well. So a comment is, Dory wonders how this would dry on plastic versus paper. I wonder if it works like resin. I'm sure on plastic it would have been a little bit better. Didn't even think about it today. Oops. Again, remember, starting something new, always learning. See, I'm going to miss the comments. But, I wanted to mention that I'll continue to do the Zoom-alongs once a month, probably once every 6 weeks, something like that. And so that we can stay in touch, because, we've made a lot of friends through COVID. Despite COVID, we made a lot of friends, right? Let's see what's going to happen here. What? A hot light. Oh, to get it to go faster. Do I have a hot light? I don't think I have a hot light around here. Well, I do know UV light will make it go faster, that's for sure. Okay, I need to cut this down. This is way too big. So I'm cutting down my sandpaper because it's way too big. It's a little unruly. I was given permission to do whatever I wanted with the stone. So if I ruin the stone, Amy, I'm sorry. But it is coming. It is coming. Really cool. Yes, it is. Okay. Let's take out a brush of some sort. So the sandpaper sort of darkened it. It got in there. So I'm going to try to clean off the residual off the sandpaper a little bit. Yeah, it's coming together. Oh, I sort of dig this. Yes, it is. You see that? You can see the silver in it. It's pretty cool. Okay, I'm going to do this by hand now. Because I only hit this center part here, I sort of created a little bit of a low spot. So I'm going to try to polish this back up a little bit by hand. There are definitely better tools out there than using your hands to do this, but we're working with what we have right now. Sorry? Okay, so someone said doing this wet might work better. Okay. Sorry? Okay, so I just wet that, by the way. So someone just asked what the silver dust is. It's literally just silver dust from sawing. I've been collecting the silver. So it could be fine, but I don't think that really is. I'm pretty sure it's sterling silver. Oh yeah, look at that. See, you can tell I don't really do lapidary work. That works nicely. I wet the sandpaper because I am using wet dry sandpaper. Okay. Let's see if I can clean that up a little bit more. Yeah. So another thing I can say too is if I was to do this over again, I would give it more time to dry because, you know, the glue was a little bit still gooey and you can see where sandpaper sort of got in there and where it didn't. You can see how sparkly it is where the sandpaper did not get into the glue. So question is, if it's sterling, won't it tarnish? Yeah, probably, but you should be able to polish it back up too. Again. So, just like sterling, you know, just like sterling would. Sand the back a little bit, just to get that flat again. Have a little bit sticking out there. Okay, need a bigger piece of sandpaper. Go with something a little bit more abrasive. We'll go to 500 here, just for the back. Right. Just get some of that epoxy off and to flatten it out. Okay. I'm just going to take that off a little bit with my hands because I can. So this is going to take a bit more polishing and refining, but it does work, and I think this is a nice solution for any broken cabs. So save your silver dust, get some 2-part epoxy, and fill it. And what I learned here is you really do want to let it dry all the way. Not just the 5 minutes. You know, I used a 5-minute epoxy yesterday, like we mentioned, on a piece of plastic, and it really took, to not be tacky, over an hour for it to really not be tacky. It could have been in how I mixed it and it could have been the epoxy itself, but I'm pretty sure it was how I mixed it. Just saying. So, you know, unless you have that perfect mixture, it's going to take a minute to cure and harden, right? So what I'll do here, because it's not my piece, is I will put another bit of epoxy on here and try that again, and put a little bit more on top and sand it and give it another polish like so. But it does work. So there it is. There's a solution for you. So the question is this the fiberglass brush? I am actually using a fiberglass brush today, just because I feel like it's a little bit more abrasive and can get into that spot a little bit better. So there you have it. Anyway, okay, that is it for me, unless anybody else has any more questions. Again, you know, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for being a friend. I know, how tacky. It's a little cliche, but thanks for being a friend, and thanks for following me on Facebook. I'm going to continue with my posts, continue with the work, and sharing stuff, because that's what we do, right? That's what we like to do. Anyway, that said, have a great rest of the week. I'll see everybody who signed up for the Zoom on Sunday, and see you around. Okay.